Knuckles Comic Issue 8. We start off with a pointless recap disguised as Knuckles doing some stilted inner monologuing while he's being warped to the moon by Enerjack for a fight. Wait, the moon? I guess it has Earth's atmosphere then, since they're not both immediately suffocating to death. Oh, Enerjack says he created an air pocket. I'm impressed that they cared enough to explain this. Enerjack, still wasting my time with egomaniacal rant about how powerful he is, proceeds to send Knuckles to the deepest depths of the ocean in a display of his power. Logically, Knuckles should be immediately crushed by the water pressure and killed here. Having to hold his breath would be the least of his problems. But I'm guessing Enerjack won't just keep him here until he drowns because that'd be the smart thing to do. And as we all know by now, a villain as powerful as Enerjack isn't allowed by the writers to use his powers the way an actual person would, or they would win. At least him being able to talk to Knuckles underwater is justified, as his text bubbles are all crazy looking, not connected to him. So I can assume he's actually speaking telepathically, in a booming voice with an intimidation factor. Meanwhile, Julie seems to return to Kragok, although she looks pretty sad. So I think it's obvious that she's only returning to Dark Legion because she's lost her only friend and couldn't stand the loneliness otherwise. The way she's talking to Kragok saying she was using Knuckles to get back to him sounds a lot like lying. And her expression of trying too hard earnestly doesn't really help. It said she feels weird about it instead of feeling at home. I feel like I'm right in assuming this is only temporary. So instead of viewing her as a traitor and thinking of it as bad writing or something, I'm more feeling sorry for her because now her friends and civilians are going to be really mad at her for what she did. Meanwhile, we get a continuation of Lyra's subplot as Knuckles' mother goes to Constable Remington, as he's the only way she can contact her ex-husband and talk about her son. Remington is conflicted at this because his predecessor Holmes, you mean like Sherlock Holmes, had warned him about getting personally involved and told that the Guardians protect their privacy intensely, and now he's being asked to go against his protocols. Why the hell would this be against protocol? We then cut back to Knuckles struggling for air, and it's shown that Enerjack can read his mind. Well, he is powerful. And Knuckles gets swiftly attacked by a hungry sea creature, which Enerjack enjoys because he likes seeing him at the bottom of the food chain. Fortunately, we immediately cut away from that boring story where nothing's really going on to Locke waking up in the sickbay of the Haven again, Grandpa Hawking still in an annoyingly inexplicable coma, and when an alarm goes off, Knuckles' father decides to put off his discussion while calling the man near him father, so his friend over there is his father. It makes sense, he looks older than him. I like how Locke's father shows a little personality to him by complaining that everything's a crisis, and saying, "You know, Locke, it's been a while since I've heard you laugh," showing that he's less serious than his son. The two of them find out about Julie rejoining the Dark Legion, as I wonder why that alarm went off unless it psychically knew that the cameras were recording something that they should be warned about. They realize that Kid Apollos might be in danger of attack soon, and Knuckles somehow makes it back to the surface of the water to the deepest depths of the ocean before he could drown, with Enerjack not trying to prevent him from doing this at all. I guess on Mobius the deepest depths aren't that deep, other than he can swim at a ridiculously high speed. Then we cut to the Chaotix finding Julie Sue working for the Dark Legion again, making me feel pretty sorry for her for the situation she's gotten herself into. And she's ordered by Kragok to knock them out with some gas. But the minute Kragok said to finish them off, I immediately was reassured because we know the Chaotix can never be killed off. Not unless they had time travel to undo it. Obviously she's going to hesitate instead of doing it. We then cut to Enerjack still wasting time torturing Knuckles, this time by bringing him 3,000 meters above the floating island. And somehow being freezing cold is Knuckles' only problem and he doesn't immediately pass out from the air being too thin. Also, I'm guessing Enerjack has a warm air pocket around his body or something, so that he himself doesn't suffer from this. Seriously though, with Enerjack wasting his time with simply torturing Knuckles, I'm really starting to feel like he's losing credibility as a threat. He's still menacing, but he's not the type to try to go for the kill right away, and that's his downfall. He's not allowed to be smart. Which is ironic as hell considering his former identity as a scientist. At least Kragok being not overpowered means he doesn't have that restriction. I actually burst out laughing at how Enerjack reacted to Knuckles' remark. He attacked Knuckles and says, "Enough! I am through with trying to toy with you." It's the raw anger of him that I found funny, making it feel more like immature comedic type of villain, like modern Eggman. And the fact that I imagined him with a high-pitched nasally voice there also helped. As Knuckles falls from the sky, as I wonder what's the threat since he's able to glide to safety from any height, I see the line, "I refuse to accept the possibility of there not being any way out of this." That's the wrong kind of there! It's like they are not being any... Was this written in a rush or what? Do editors of scripts just not exist? Oh wait, it wasn't Knuckles who was saying it, it was actually Archimedes talking to his grandpa, since the two of them are still trapped and able to teleport. But this scene is just pointless filler, because nothing gets done, and instead we immediately cut back to Kragok and Julie Sue, the latter having still not put back on her black cloak, which you'd think would have been mandatory for her to do the minute she got back. Kragok pulls a white spear out of the container, the spear I'm guessing containing Archimedes, and he says with a smile that he's been waiting for this day to come, and with the press of a button, he'll eliminate one set of problems while focusing on claiming which should be his, and buries the container with the ants in it and proceeds to walk away. Archimedes reminds the audience that there's no way to teleport in the place they're trapped in, and the electromagnetic field is even stronger in here. You mean electromagnetic? And then the story ends on a cliffhanger, with Knuckles being told that he'll be taken apart physically and told to enjoy life as a neuron as his body seems to be affected by it. Of course, there's no way they'd actually kill him off permanently, but I'm still really intrigued as to how this is going to turn out, and how the ants will survive the situation. I'm guessing Julie Sue will pick him up. This story, by Ken Penders, can basically be summarized as Knuckles gets pointlessly toyed with by Enerjack, wasting time showing off his power, but because it's a very boring story, we fortunately have some subplots to make things interesting, including Julie Sue returning to Dark Legion because she's not sure what else to do, which makes me feel pretty sorry for her for how much trouble she's getting herself into with her friends. And I'm pretty excited for the moment where she'll realize her mistake and make her going over to Knuckles' side official. And you can't say it came out of nowhere because she was complaining about almost regretting being with Knuckles when she was searching a cave with him in the previous issue. I'm interested in seeing how exactly the talk between Knuckles' parents will go. I really think that even having a pair of divorced parents at all, let alone Knuckles' parents, is really novel and creative for Sonic. So I like that. It'd be boring if they got back together. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm interested in seeing how the ants and the chaotics will get out of the situation. Basically, this is a story that's all about setting up for a more exciting story after this, an in-between issue. And with all the subplots doing that, giving me lots of reasons to look forward to later issues where they'll be resolved, Knuckles' own story having nothing really happening in it was made up for because the issue as a whole was still interesting. So I enjoyed it.